The labor movement has long been a vital force in shaping the workforce as we know it today. From the early 19th century, when craft unions began to take root, to the challenges modern unions face in our rapid changing world. The story of labor is one of the enduring struggle for workers' rights and fair treatment. Let's walk through some of the key moments in U.S. labor history, starting with the early labor movements, moving through the rise of industrial unions, the emergence of legal protections and labor reforms, the dynamics during and after wartime, the decline in union density, and finally, the modern labor movements adapting to new economic realities. Early labor movements. In the early 1800s, as industrialization started to reshape the American economy, skilled tradesmen like blacksmiths, carpenters, and shoemakers began forming local craft unions. These unions emerged as a response to the increasing pressure of industrialization, where maintaining high standards of craftsmanship and protecting skilled workers' interests became crucial. One of the earliest recognized labor organizations in the U.S. was the Federal Society of Journeyman Cordwainers, established in 1794. These pioneering efforts were not without challenges. For example, when these unions sought wage increases, they were accused of criminal conspiracy, since labor union laws were not yet established at that time. As the Industrial Revolution took hold, the landscape of work transformed dramatically. Small-scale workshops gave way to large factories, emphasizing mass production over individual craftsmanship. This shift brought new challenges such as long hours, dangerous working conditions, and job insecurity, which became common issue for workers. A stark example of the change can be seen in places like Lowell, Massachusetts, where young women worked in textile mills under harsh conditions, highlighting the significant differences between the old craft-based economy and the new industrial orders. The rise of industrial unions. With the rise of industrialization came the need for a different kind of labor organization. In 1886, labor leaders like Samuel Gompers recognized this and founded the American Federation of Labor, AFL. Unlike earlier unions that were often local and focused on specific trades, the AFL aimed to unite workers on a national scale. Its approach was pragmatic, zeroing in on bread and butter issues like wages, hours, working conditions, rather than broader political goals. However, the road was not easy. Earlier labor struggles were often marked by intense confrontations with employers and even the government. The Haymarket Affair of 1886, which started as a peaceful rally in Chicago advocating for an 8-hour workday, tragically ended in violence, symbolizing the deep tensions between labor and capital. Similarly, the Pullman strike of 1894, led by Eugene Debs and the American Railway Union, underscored the growing power of industrial unions and highlighted the critical role of solidarity and collective action in the labor movement. Legal protections and labor reforms. The progressive era, spanning from 1890s to the 1920s, was a time of significant social and political reform, particularly in labor rights. One of the most tragic events of the era was Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in 1911, where 146 garment workers, mostly young immigrant women, perished due to unsafe working conditions. This tragedy, coupled with the growing public outcry against child labor and exploitation, led to the introduction of key labor laws. For instance, the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 established minimum wage and maximum hour standards, as well as restrictions on child labor. During the New Deal era, the federal government took an unprecedented step in supporting workers' rights. The National Labor Relations Act of 1935, commonly known as the Wagner Act, guaranteed workers the right to organize and bargain collectively. It also led to the creation of National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, which was tasked with mediating labor disputes and enforcing labor laws. These legal protections were crucial in laying the foundation for the modern labor movement, securing workers' rights nationwide. Wartime and post-war labor dynamics. World War II marked a period of unique cooperation between labor and management. The federal government, through the World Labor Board, encouraged unions and employers to work together to maintain productions for the war effort. As a result, union membership surged, with workers joining to support the national cause and secure better working conditions. The labor movement's role was critical in ensuring that the United States met the demands of the global conflict. After the war, unions continued to grow in power and influence. The post-war economic boom of the 1950s and 1960s allowed unions to secure significant gains for their members, including higher wages, better benefits, and improved job security. During this time, the United Auto Workers, UAW, under the leadership of Walter Reuther, became one of the most powerful unions in the country, negotiating landmark contracts with major automakers like General Motors and Ford. This era represented the peak of union power in the United States. Decline of union density. However, by the late 20th century, the labor landscape began to change once more. Globalization, technology, and a shift towards a service-based economy led to the decline of traditional manufacturing jobs. As industries moved overseas and automation reduced the need for manual labor, union membership began to decline, reaching historical lows in recent years. This presented profound challenges for unions as they struggled to adapt to a rapidly evolving economic environment. Despite these challenges, new forms of worker organization have emerged, responding to the changing economy. Movements like Fight for $15 and the rise of gig economy unions show that workers continue to find ways to organize and advocate for their rights in the modern workplace. The modern labor movements. The modern labor movements have to adapt in innovative ways. One of the most significant developments has been the unionization efforts within the tech industry. Workers in companies like Google, Amazon, and other tech giants have begun organizing to address issues such as job security, fair wages, and ethical concerns related to the use of technology. These efforts represent a new frontier for labor unions as they navigate the complexity of a rapid changing digital economy. The story of labor in America is one of the resilience, adaptation, and the ongoing fight for justice and dignity, now extending into industries that were once considered immune to unionization. If you are interested in digging more about the key events and shifts in U.S. labor history, here is a table for your reference. Thanks for watching.